hello, is anybody here? Randomly, I just started hearing screaming. I looked back at my friend and he said, hey, let's just go inside the faculty office. Let's see what's going on. I said, okay. And I decided to go into the office. When we turned the corner, we saw a girl that was smashing her head into the microwave, screaming as blood was dripping from her forehead. I just randomly saw 3 adults run out and grab her. One of the faculty looked at us and said, get back to class. I feel like most people have a haunted or a poltergeist story, but let's just say my situation was pretty damn obvious. I attended a school that had demons or ghouls or ghosts or whatever you want to call them. There were kids that were possessed, people that were trying to jump in front of cars. I attended this school from like 6th grade all the way to 12th grade. And for some reason, 7th grade, things just got out of hand. All right, let me just start off by describing the school. It was a new school that decided to rent out a building in the middle of nowhere. None of the students actually lived near the building. Everybody that attended the school had to get bussed in. There wasn't a lot of kids in this school, actually. My entire grade was about 35 kids, and the building was extremely old. I'm talking about it must have been built in the early 1900s. The architecture was beautiful. I'm gonna be honest, it was stunning. It looked like we were in some Harry Potter film. And for some reason, there were parts of the building that we weren't allowed to go into. For example, the library or the downstairs hallways. There was a basement that had these massive hallways that seemed like they went on for eternity. The entire basement looked like a liminal space. And there was this playground near these massive woods in the back of the school. You're probably wondering who would send their children to this weird ass school. All of our parents, for some reason. The principal and the people who created this school somehow convinced them. The guy who started the school contacted a bunch of parents around the different communities and neighborhoods and pretty much told them this school would focus on STEM. He somehow convinced multiple communities that their children would get a education that would guarantee them entry into Ivy League schools. He insisted the academy had rigorous vetting and only the most qualified students could enter. There was a complicated test that we all had to take. I remember having to sit there for about 2 hours taking this test, and when I left the room, I felt pretty confident that I did shitty, but somehow I barely passed and I got accepted into this school, into this academy. Alright, so let me just tell you this. Me and my dumbass friends weren't the ones that were being possessed, but we did have to witness all of this go down. For example, one day me and my friend Wally, we were walking down the stairwell and we saw a girl that was lying at the bottom of the stairwell. The first thing we thought was, damn, did she just fall all the way from the top of the stairs onto this hard ass ground? So we both looked at each other and knew, hey, we should probably help this girl. We slowly went down the stairs to help her. The reason I'm saying slowly is I wasn't trying to slip and fall just like this girl. But when we got near her, she jumped up out of nowhere facing the door and then turned around and looked at us. I remember thinking, damn, she's hella tall. Keep in mind, we were in 6th grade, so both of us were under 5'6". She looked both of us in the eyes and without saying anything, she spit blood on the floor and ran down the second stairwell. I remember I was terrified, but I didn't want to look like a punk in front of my friend. So I just said, let's get to class. We ended up going to class and pretending like we didn't see anything. I'm gonna just tell you a few more times where we witnessed possessions and hauntings around our school. There was a time where we all had to go into the auditorium for a school meeting, I guess. And in the middle of this lecture that was going on, one of the kids started screaming in the middle. The kid started freaking out. He looked like he was having a seizure and he lunged at the person sitting next to him, started choking him. I remember sitting in the auditorium thinking, is today pizza day? No, wait. Oh, fuck, it's soup, actually. Damn. I remember another time getting sent to the faculty office because me and my friend were roasting each other. When we got to the front office, nobody was there. I remember leaning into the window and thinking, hello, is anybody here? Randomly, I just started hearing screaming. I looked back at my friend and he said, hey, let's just go inside the faculty office. Let's see what's going on. I said, okay. And I decided to go into the office. When we turned the corner, we saw a girl that was smashing her head into the microwave, screaming as blood was dripping from her forehead. I just randomly saw 3 adults run out and grab her. One of the faculty looked at us and said, get back to class. So yeah, we just ended up going back to the class. When the teacher asked us what happened, we just said they told us to come back. The school was pretty damn weird. Yeah, even in the summer times, it would always be cold. It always felt like there was something behind you. Even when you were walking in the hallways alone, it kind of felt like there was just something staring at you, something very ominous. So a lot of students would just end up running from class to class, No one really wanted to stay out in the hallways, which was kind of the most creepy area. If I'm gonna be honest, the school should have hired someone to deal with this goddamn haunting. They should have hired a priest, a rabbi, and an imam, triple teamed whatever was going on. Weirdly, the most worrying thing that I saw was the people trying to jump in front of buses and cars. I remember that was something the school seemed to be worried about, jumping in front of trucks, jumping in front of buses. Whatever damn vehicle was on the road, people seemed to want to jump in front of it. Yeah, pretty much the year just kind of kept going on like that. If you attended the school, the policy was kind of act like nothing was happening and, just keep moving forward. Just keep swimming. That was the policy right there. Pretend like nothing was happening, because that's pretty much what we all did. As long as you don't validate the demon, I guess the demon would leave you alone. Yeah, we somehow made it to the end of the school year and we never saw the kids that got possessed again. The next school year, everything was relatively normal. I guess those demons ended up leaving with those kids. So what was the conclusion? What did we learn from this journey, some might say? If a place is haunted, don't stick around like my dumbass, because maybe next time they just might take a liking to you.